In Chile, right-wing parties won most of the seats at the Constitutional Council. In Texas, the number of fatalities in the hit-and-run attack against a group of Venezuelan immigrants rose to 8 after one of the injured died in a local hospital. And also, over 1,300 migrants arrived in Italy at the island of Lampedusa. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. In Chile, elections for the country's new Constitutional Council saw the right and extreme right win a majority of seats. With more than 95% of ballots counted and nearly 20% spoiled or blank, Chile's Electoral Service reported that the right-wing Republican Party led the count with more than 35% of the votes counted, winning 22 councillors. While the Unity for Chile, the party of President Gabriel Boric, has obtained 28.45% of the votes with 17 councillors. For its part, Chile Seguro obtained 21.12% of votes and 11 councillors. For their part, the indigenous peoples obtained only one additional councillor after the indigenous vote exceeded the threshold of participation established to obtain a minority representation in the body. During a speech, President Boric affirmed that there is a new possibility for the construction of a new Carta Magna. In Argentina, candidates of the local ruling party won this Sunday's elections in the northern provinces of Misiones, Jujuy, and La Rioja, which together represent 5.3% of the national electoral roll, according to preliminary results. In Misiones, the former governor Hugo Pasalacqua won back the office with 66.11% of the votes for the ruling party Frente Renovador de la Concordia. Likewise, in the province of La Rioja, a pro-government coalition also won the governorship as runner-up. Ricardo Quintela obtained 49.92% of the votes and will enjoy a second term. Meanwhile, the finance minister of the province of Jujuy, Carlos Adir, obtained 49.17% of the votes and will replace Gerardo Morales, who launched his pre-candidacy for the presidential elections next October as part of the opposition coalition Juntos por el Cambio. Many provinces decided to bring forward their elections so that they do not coincide with the presidential elections of October 2023. The President of the National Assembly of Ecuador, Virgilio Saquicela, summoned the next plenary session where legislators will analyze the report of the Oversight Committee, which recommended not to impeach President Guillermo Lasso for embezzlement of public funds. After Saturday's vote by the 9-member committee to accept or reject the recommendations of the report, it must be sent to the President of the National Assembly, Virgilio Saquicela, who must, in turn, submit it to the 137 members of the Assembly, who will finally decide whether to impeach the president. If they decide to go ahead with the impeachment, the Ecuadorian head of state must appear in person to defend himself against the charges, and the trial will end with a vote. To remove the president, Guillermo Lasso, the Assembly requires a minimum of 92 votes to a total of 137 legislators. In Peru, at least 27 people died as a result of a fire in a mine shaft at mining company Yanaquiwa, located in the city of Arequipa in the south of the country. According to Arequipa's regional government, the event was reported at 12 noon on Saturday. They also detailed that the fire inside the sinkhole placed the province of Condesuyos in the district of Yanaquiwa in Izapacas sector would have been caused by a short circuit. However, the investigations to clarify the facts are still in progress. Rescue personnel and 3 ambulances were mobilized to the scene to the incident to help in the emergency response. Monitoring activities also continue from the Regional Emergency Operations Center. And a new group of 115 asylum seekers arrived in Venezuela from Chile thanks to the government's planned return to the homeland. Venezuela's Ministry of People's Power for Foreign Affairs informed that the country guarantees the return of migrants blocked at the border between Chile and Peru. after diplomats' efforts between the Ministry of People's Power for Foreign Affairs of the Peruvian and Chilean foreign ministries, the government of Venezuela guarantees the protection and the safe return of its citizens. The Return to the Homeland, or Vuelta a la Patria, a plan implemented in 2018, has guaranteed the voluntary and safe return of nationals, with nearly 180 flights and one marine transfer, according to figures provided by the authorities. Venezuela's Vice Chancellor for Latin America, Rander Peña, welcomed the 115 Venezuelans who arrived in the country on Sunday from Chile.
On behalf of President Nicolas Maduro, we have welcomed home 115 Venezuelan men and women who were in a very difficult, complex situation in the north of Chile, specifically in Arica. Immediately we knew the situation that Venezuelans were facing. President Nicolas Maduro ordered the entire team of the Venezuelan Foreign Ministry to establish the necessary arrangement to bring Venezuelans home safely within the virtuous plan back to the homeland.
And also David Molina, repatriated as part of the plan to the return to the homeland, expressed his gratitude to the government of President Nicolás Maduro Moros for the support provided for his return home.
Confess that I'm spectacularly happy. I feel and we feel very happy. Well, my partner, me and my son, we must reiterate our gratitude to the government for having supported us in that sense. We are very grateful and hopefully we can also solve the problems of the people who stay there in Arica. Really very, very happy, very grateful indeed. Yes, we are speechless. We have been stranded for several days and we couldn't find a way to leave. But well, we are here in our land, in our homeland. Thanks to God, thanks to the government, thanks to President Nicolás Maduro, and thanks also to the Chancellor Ivan here for the statement referring to us. Thank you very much indeed.
On Monday, the number of fatalities in the hit-and-run attack against a group of Venezuelan immigrants in front of a homeless center in the Texas city of Brownsville rose to 8 after one of the injured died in a local hospital, according to authorities. The incident occurred on Sunday at a bus stop located in front of a homeless shelter, which also serves as a center for migrants located in the state of Texas. As a result of the altercation, 6 other people were injured and were transported to a hospital for treatment. In this context, a man was detained as a suspect and was taken to a hospital to verify whether he had consumed alcohol or drugs. Although the motives for the hit-and-run have not yet been officially confirmed, the authorities believe that it may have been intentional. And the Venezuelan government regrets the tragic run-over that occurred on Sunday in the Texan city of Brownsville in the United States, which left 8 asylum seekers dead and several injured, and called on the authorities to carry out an investigation to clarify the statements. In a statement, the Bolivarian government also expressed its deepest regrets and extends its sincere condolences to the families and relatives of the victims for the tragic event that took place in the border city of Texas State, where the driver of a vehicle ran over a group of migrants, some of Venezuelan nationality. The Brownsville police announced that the perpetrator of the hit-and-run, who is in custody, is a Hispanic man. Some local media identified him as George Alvarez, of presumed Mexican nationality. Let's take a short break. But remember, you can join us in TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find news updates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In Italy, more than 1,300 migrants arrived on Lampedusa between Saturday and Sunday, further overcrowding the reception center on the tiny Italian island in the central Mediterranean. People are currently being transferred to Porto Empedocle in the Sicily because the latest wave of migrants trying to reach Europe has left the reception center operating well beyond its capacity of 400. During the early hours of Sunday, when 5 boats landed in Lampedusa with a total of 338 people on board, the Italian Port Authority moved some 349 migrants to shelters in Syracuse, Agrigento, and Catania. The rescue ship of the German aid group Rescue Ship saved 130 migrants on an overcrowded boat on Sunday morning after receiving an alert from Alarm Phone, a hotline service from distressed migrants crossing the Mediterranean Sea. On Sunday in Poland, the oil company acknowledged losses of $27 million a day due to the sanctions policy on Russian crude oil. According to the British newspaper The Financial Times, the ban on Russian oil is costing the Polish energy consortium, Orlen, some $27 million a day in losses. Daniel Obajtek, Orlen's chief executive, put the absence of Russian oil as a notable economic due to the price difference of about $30 a barrel between cheaper Russian oil and alternative supplies, the paper read. Russia, for the duration of the hostilities, became the most sanctioned country in the world, leaving behind countries such as Iran, Venezuela, or Afghanistan. For the Russian President Vladimir Putin, Russia's containment policy is part of the West's long-term strategy, whose sanctions deal a heavy blow to the world economy. In Russia, columns of military vehicles began arriving in the center of Moscow on Sunday to attend the rehearsal for the Victory Day military parade. The parade will take place at Red Square next Tuesday, May the 9th, in commemoration this year of the 78th anniversary of the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany in 1945. Last Friday, the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov confirmed that the parade will be held in Moscow and 28 other cities, despite rumors of a possible suspension due to security threats. Peskov said the main parade to be held in Moscow will require special measures to ensure the safety of participants and the general public. In India, the government has ordered the army to fire at violence instigators in the state of Manipur only in extreme cases. Manipur in northeast India is mired in ethnic conflicts that broke this past week. Authorities report 54 people killed, although they say the number could rise. As part of the security measures in the area, a curfew has been enforced in most districts, and at least 10,000 soldiers have been deployed to patrol the affected areas, while mobile internet services have been suspended. The violence broke out after a protest caused clashes between the Meitei ethnic community, who are mostly Hindus and Muslims, and the Naga and Kuki-Zo tribal groups. As a result of the violence, several buildings have been vandalized and set on fire. The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan held a campaign rally in Istanbul on Sunday ahead of the general elections scheduled for May the 14th. Many supporters attended the rally to show their support for the head of state, who is seeking re-election after almost a decade in the role. At the gathering, President Erdogan underlined the many achievements reached during the governance of the Justice and Development Party, or AK Party. The Turkish head of state also indicated that May 14th polls are not a question of a certain candidate or party, but rather a question of preserving the nation's gains. Next Sunday, Turkey will hold its general election with a two-round system to elect its president, while parliamentary elections will be held simultaneously. Meanwhile, several people also attended a campaign rally held by the presidential candidate for the opposition, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. Accompanied by his wife, Selvi Kılıçdaroğlu, the opposition leader portrayed his six-party alliance, which includes liberal, nationalists, and religious conservatives, as a force for democratic change. Recent polls suggested it will be a tight competition for both the presidential and parliamentary races, which will determine not only who will lead the nation, but also what role it may play on the international scene. And TeleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries using StoreSat. Dial 461 and enjoy our Latin American alternative broadcast. One final short break, and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Egypt, the foreign ministers of Arab League member countries have agreed to Syria's return to the organization. The readmission of Syria took place during an extraordinary meeting of the foreign ministers of the Arab League held on Sunday in Cairo to discuss the situation in Sudan and Syria. The decision was prompted by a request made by the foreign ministers of several Arab countries at a prior meeting held last April 14th in the Saudi city of Jeddah. Arab country leaders expect the return of Syria to the organization may help pave the way to resolving the humanitarian crisis in the country, stressing the importance of the leadership of Arab countries in efforts to end the crisis. Syria had been suspended from the Arab League in November 2011, several months after the outbreak of armed conflict in that country. And also on Sunday, at the Arab League meeting in Cairo, Sameh Shoukry, Egyptian foreign minister, called to seek a peaceful solution to the Syrian conflict without interference by promoting the political way within the parties involved.
Syrian crisis has proved that there is no military solution and not winner nor loser in that conflict. We are totally convinced that the only way to resolve the crisis in Syria is the political solution that totally comes from inside Syria without any external interference.
And experts from Saudi Arabia assured on Sunday that reconciliation with Iran will have a positive influence on the whole Middle East region. Tehran's presence in the kingdom ended in 2016 after relations between the two nations were severed over the execution of an Iranian cleric by Saudi Arabia. The two countries support opposing sides in several regional conflicts and accuse each other of engaging in a series of armed attacks within their own territories over the past few years. Previously, Saudi Arabia and Iran announced the resumption of diplomatic relations effective immediately on April the 6th in Beijing, with China's foreign minister Qin Gang witnessing the historic moment.
The agreement mediated by China will push the bilateral ties to more comprehensive cooperation in the whole region, one that will include economic, political, security, cultural, and trade relations. Iran's nuclear issue is a big concern for the kingdom. The kingdom supports nuclear energy for peaceful purposes, not for military purposes. Iran has to be transparent and cooperative in this regard.
Now we address other topics. The death toll from flash floods and landslides in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo rose beyond 200 people, with many more still missing. According to local authorities in the province of North Kivu or South Kivu, torrential rains caused a river to overflow on Thursday and led to significant damage and loss of life in the villages of Bushu Bushu and Niambuki. In this sense, Thomas Bakenge, the administrator of Alenge, the worst-hit territory, confirmed that over 200 bodies and over 400 had been recovered so far, but efforts to find others were continuing. Meanwhile, in the village of Niakumbi, rescue workers dug through the ruins looking for survivors. Likewise, President Felix Tshisekedi declared a national day of mourning on Monday to honor the victims, while the central government sent a crisis management team to South Kivu to support the provincial authorities. In Russia, at least 4 people were killed on Sunday due to forest fires in the southwestern city of Kurgan. According to the investigation committee, the incidents took place in several locations from the city to the reports in several villages, towns and country houses of the Russian region of Kurgan. Through a statement, confirmed that as a result of these incidents, 4 people died and that this accident occurred due to the negligence of the responsible officials who did not take the necessary safety measures against fires during this period of increased risk. In this context, to date, 123 active forest fires have been registered in an area of 56,204 hectares, the most affected being the Silver Dogs region with 48 fire outbreaks in 33,544 hectares. In Ecuador, the Secretariat of Risk Management reported on Sunday a slight fall of ash from the Cotopaxi volcano located in the north-central part of the country. The entity indicated that maintained constant monitoring of the crater and added that a cloud of about 600 meters above the level of the summit was also observed. It also recommended the population to take preventive measures, such as the use of masks and skin protection. The Cotopaxi volcano, at 5,897 meters high, is considered one of the most dangerous in the world due to its area of impact in case of an eruption. A yellow alert has been in effect on October, which establishes the updating of rescue plans and the training of neighboring populations in the event of an eruption. There are two other volcanoes that are currently active in Ecuador: the Zangay, the province of Morona, Santiago, and the Reventador in the province of Napo. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.